Hello and welcome to this Klusterbox demonstration. I'm Tom Weeks. I'm a letter carrier. I was a union steward for 10 years, and I'm the developer of Klusterbox. What is Klusterbox? Klusterbox is a computer program or an app that I wrote, which will help you with your union stewarding. I specifically designed it to investigate improper mandate grievances. Then later I added 12 and 60-hour violations. We're up to version 4.1 right now. Klusterbox is completely free to download and use, and it's open source. What it's going to do is it's going to give you tools to build carrier lists, to enter in clock rings, other relevant information, and you're going to be able to generate spreadsheets for your informal A meetings or formal A meetings. You can investigate just one station, or you can use Klusterbox at the branch level to investigate multiple stations. You can use it to investigate just one day or an entire service week at a time. Also, later I added the automatic data entry feature, and that will allow you to investigate entire service weeks at a time in about 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. You have to have the correctly formatted information, but an investigation can take you 5 minutes. I talked to a steward in Ohio who conducted a year's worth of investigations, and that took him a day and a half using Klusterbox. It really can be a game changer with your investigations. So, having said that, let's get started with the demonstration. Okay, the first thing we have to do is open it up. So just open it up like a normal program. And here it is. So the first thing is to set the investigation date, range, and station. Let's set a date. Someplace where I have some carrier information. Set the station, Clusterville, and set. Okay. Now this is your carrier list. And just to let you know, there's no real carrier information here. These are all made up names and stations and routes and times and everything. So I just made this for the purpose of demonstration. But this is what your carrier list is going to look like. And then there's an edit button. So you can edit carrier information here. These carrier lists are dynamic. You can change a carrier status from day to day, from week to week, whatever. So let me show you the end product of Klusterbox first, the spreadsheets. There's an improper mandate spreadsheet called mandate spreadsheets. Okay, and there you have it. This is a spreadsheet. You have tabs down here for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All of these are going to have information in them. There's a summary sheet, and that's going to give you availability to 10 and then availability to 12 with off-route mandates. It's comparing the availability with the mandates, and then it's giving you the violations based on those numbers. So, okay. Now let's go back to the main spreadsheet, and we'll take a look at this information. And basically what this is, it's just doing a more detailed breakdown of what the summary does. takes all the mandates, it takes all the overtime, work by no list carriers, work assignment list carriers, and overtime. It takes all those mandates and it compares it to the availability from the overtime desired list and the auxiliary assistants. Now, the auxiliary assistants, that includes PTFs and CCAs. So let's go to the Overmax spreadsheet. Okay, this looks complicated and is complicated, but it's very thorough. It's going to capture every single violation. And I'm still going to do some work on it to make it even better than it is now, but this will capture every daily violation, every weekly violation. It'll take in all the paid leave, which also applies to the 12 and 60-hour rule, and it puts it in the spreadsheet, and it gives you the total violation for each carrier. And there's a summary on this sheet here, and that will give you. Then that's what you're going to take into your informal A meeting or your formal A meeting. You're going to ask for a remedy for that violation for each one of those carriers. There's also a handy instruction sheet if it wasn't confusing enough. Okay, let's go to just the basics. Okay, now say you want to start an investigation for a completely different station. So let's go to list of stations and type in a new station. Klusterbox. Let's call it. Enter. And now you can see on your list of stations there are 3 stations: Clusterville, Klusterbox, and out of station. Go back. You can select Klusterbox, set, and your carrier list is empty. So you can enter a new carrier. Let's call this guy Skeleton Key M. He's a work assignment carrier. His NSD is yellow, and his route is 1512. Okay, and the station is 1512. So apply that. Okay, another carrier. Let's say we'll call him Chess Set. Okay. He's on the OTDL. His NSD is blue. His route is 1566. Apply. Okay, so now we have these 2 carriers. Let's enter in some clock rings. So for Chess Set, he worked 8 hours on Saturday. Submit. Skeleton Key, he worked 12 hours. Let's make it 13 hours. And he worked from 10 till 11 on route 1578. And also he worked from 11 till 12 on 1589. So submit that. Okay, and then we'll open up a spreadsheet. Okay, Saturday. So Saturday we scroll down to work assignment carriers. We can see Skeleton Key there, his clock rings. We can scroll down to overtime desired list. We can see Chess Set with his clock rings. His availability is 4 hours. And Skeleton Key's off-route overtime is 2 hours. So We can go to summary, and we can see that violation right there. It's a violation of 2 hours. So that's the basics of Klusterbox. Okay, Klusterbox is going to keep track of carrier attributes as they change, or whenever you change them. So say we have this carrier here, Oliveira. We can go down and see all of the changes that they made over time. When they got off the list, when they changed their NS day, when they bid another route, that's all that information's there. And here's a report you can generate. Just press this button, and that will generate this report, and it will show you the effective date, the list change, the NS day change, the route that they're on, the station that their bid at. So you can the carrier lists are dynamic, so that you get the correct carrier list for the investigation that you're doing. The carrier list can change from day to day, as you know. Sometimes a carrier's on the overtime desired list on Monday, and then they're off on Tuesday. So that happens sometimes. And Klusterbox allows you that flexibility. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the automatic data entry. For this, we're going to start with a completely clean install, and let's just type in the name of the station. This is the first screen. This is the first screen you're going to see when you first install Klusterbox. So we've installed, so it's a fresh install, and let's go down to database, and you can see right here 0 records in rings table, and the only records we have are the stations. Let's go back, hit automatic data entry. We're going to navigate to our employee everything report. These are some fake employee everything reports that I made up for the purpose of demonstration. We're going to match this station to Clusterville, but this is the station in tax here, and then this is the station we're going to use. So okay, match that. Then you can pretty much just continue on through these next 2 screens. You can read it when you do it. And we're going to input some information there. It's just building the carrier list. And also you're going to want to take the time to input these new carriers. Okay, you just go through carrier by carrier, and you enter in the strings for all the floaters. I made this little cheat sheet here so you can copy and paste all that stuff. Okay, I'm taking some time to go through these and adjust the carriers, and adjust them by what list that they're actually on. And let's see here. So this is a pretty monotonous part, but it's necessary. Okay, and you'll be able to see that the auxiliary carriers and any PTFs are going to be already recognized because they're in the employee everything report, and I've also added these floater strings. You're not going to have to do that every time. You're just going to have to do that when you before you've built the carrier list. So you can build the carrier list with the automatic data entry. Okay, and there's a final screen. Carrier's no longer at station. You just click through that. Do you automatically want to enter the rings? Yes. And here you go. You get this progress bar. And you can see the names just flying by there. Obviously, those aren't real names, but that's how fast it is. What the automatic data entry is doing right now is it's entering in all of the carrier rings. You know, the 5200 time, any paid leave, any moves off and on to the route, so it can detect off-route overtime. Okay, let's just let this process finish out. It's not taking that long. Okay, let's close this out. So we get this employee everything report has been successfully inputted into the database, and you get the main screen with your carrier list. At this point, you can generate a spreadsheet. And you'll be able to see all that information has been inputted into the spreadsheet. You get a summary for the entire week right here. So let's go back, and just to prove I'm not bluffing, look at the database. And when we started this, there were only 2 records in the database. Now there are what, 470, something like that. So yeah, that's the automatic data entry really is that fast. And in fact, once you do it the first time, once you've built the carrier list, you don't have to rebuild it each time. You don't have to keep re-entering the floater strings or what list carriers are on. You just have to update any changes. And there are other screens in the automatic data entry when those events arise that help you do that. Okay, another thing we can look at is the reports. You have reports like carrier route and NS day. You can print those off or just use them for reference. They probably would work pretty well in your in your grievance packet, just to show everybody's NS day and everybody's route, since the spreadsheet doesn't include that information. Then these next 2 are variations on that, just the carrier route, just the carrier NS day, carrier by list. So you can print those off, and it just shows what list each carrier's on. And these reports generate in Notepad, as you can see, Notepad up here, and the equivalent to that in Mac, whatever that is. I forget the name right now, but just make sure you use a monotype for these reports. Otherwise, the formatting goes off. You need a font like Courier or anything with mono in the name, and that's going to give you the correct formatting. If you use something like Times or Helvetica or just your favorite font, which isn't a monotype, then the spaces aren't gonna, the columns aren't gonna line up. But that's just a helpful hint there. But what else we got? Okay, another report for carrier status history. I've shown you this before. It's just another way to get to it. This will generate a list of all the carriers who've ever been at that station, even if they're not at that station anymore. So go back. And then another report is clock ring summary. Okay, this will show you all the clock rings that you have for every for that station. So like all the records, so that you'll know where your information's at. Okay, so if you want to know if you've investigated a week before, you can check this and see if those dates are there. And here is a pay period guide generator. You can just enter in any year, like say 1985 at random, and you'll generate a pay period guide for it. Tells you where when every pay period begins and ends, and it's a handy tool to have. And you have a bunch of other tools to help you configure Klusterbox. There's this database tool, which is new to version 4.1, and this will tell you how many records you have in the database. Now I've changed back to my other demonstration database since I tested the automatic data entry. But so this will allow you to delete any records. Delete any records within a specified range for a specific station, just the carriers or just the clock rings, And there's a button down here where you could just you can delete the entire database, build a new database, and start over again from a fresh install. That's handy to have sometimes if things get too screwed up. So those are the highlights. That's not everything, but that's most of the stuff. And I'm going to be making detailed videos about every aspect, like you know, each of the spreadsheets, different aspects of how Klusterbox works. And I've got more stuff lined up for the future, so stay tuned for different versions. Oh, also, let me before I go, let me show you the website. You can go to this About Klusterbox feature, and there's a link to the website there. So yes, this is the website, and this is the website that I own and maintain. It's got tutorials, contact information, help information, downloads for the Mac, for Windows, with and without installers. I got nothing for Linux right now. I'm working on that. I'm looking into Chrome. That may work out. That may not work out. I'm not sure. Chrome is kind of a iffy thing. Also, there's another website, the Facebook website. This is also the page on Facebook which I manage, and it's a Klusterbox software for NALC stewards, and you can go there, and I post here whenever I make updates and changes and all that stuff. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Happy Union stewarding.